Hey, this is John from RocketForms. So first, I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. I'm really looking forward to diving into this presentation and discussing website conversions and RocketForms with you today. So here's what we are going to cover in this short demo. Number one, conversion psychology. So we're going to talk about human psychology and understanding what motivates people to convert on your website. Then we're going to discuss conversational forms, how you can amaze your website visitors and boost leads with conversational forms. So you're in the right place if your website is already getting traffic. We like to say at least 50 visitors per month. Even that's kind of low, but at the end of the day, too, if you have a low traffic site and you're looking to generate leads, all you need is a few leads to really kind of boost your revenue, especially if you have a high revenue type of product. Typically, the more traffic, the better. So if you're not getting traffic to your website, then it might be better to go figure out the traffic side of things first, and then to start focusing on how you can increase your website conversion rates. The second thing is you're in the right place if you believe in customer centric marketing. So if you believe in trying to make your marketing serve your customer the best that it can and really like optimizing your website with the customer in mind, then you're definitely in the right place. And third, you're in the right place if you're looking to get more qualified leads. So this means that maybe you're in a space like home service, so like pest control. Maybe you're a plumbing company or doing marketing for that type of company. Carpet cleaners comes to mind. Legal, personal injury, divorce lawyers. Or maybe you're in B2B SaaS. If you're in B2B SaaS or you're an agency and you're looking for more consultations, you're definitely in the right place. Basically, people doing lead gen who are looking to boost leads from their website traffic. And then you're in the right place if you just want to get better results for your clients. If you're a marketer like me and you're driving traffic for clients, you not only want to get them more traffic and retain them for longer, but you also want to get them more leads and just better results in general. We're going to talk about how you can do that today. And then finally, if you are ready to increase leads, demos, and sales, you're definitely in the right place. And the result of doing all that great stuff of boosting your website conversion rates is to the left, it's pretty clear you increase your website conversions. And then to the right, the impact of doing so is you decrease your cost per acquisition. So all of the money that you're funneling into your marketing through different channels, just simply by boosting up your website conversion rates a bit, you can decrease the cost to acquire each lead. And the more you can do that, the more you can then put back into marketing or maybe buying a yacht or something. So there's a lot of benefits to doing this type of stuff. And that's why we're here today talking about how to get better results from your website. So a little bit background about me. So I'm a digital marketer, and my background for the last decade has been driving traffic and doing conversion rate optimization, which is just a fancy way of saying getting more people who come to your website to turn into leads to convert. So I've been doing this type of stuff for local service businesses and B2B SaaS for over a decade now. So I remember a few years ago, I was sitting at my computer and I was staring there, staring at the landing page, and I was getting traffic. I wasn't having a problem with that. Traffic's not that hard to get, but I wanted better conversion rates. Getting better conversion rates can be pretty difficult if you make it hard. So I was sitting there kind of like racking my brain about all the different types of tests that I could do, like button colors, changing out landing pages, adding personalization to headlines. And then I kind of said to myself, what if I just built this little lead gen widget that I could just stick on my site and could pop up across a whole bunch of pages, not just my landing page? It would automatically engage the website visitors at just the right time. But what if I could also make that widget kind of like a form, kind of like a chat bot, a little more conversational? Um, and then that's when this idea of conversational forms and rocket forms really came to life. So to the right, you see a picture of me in the hospital, and don't worry, I was fine. That was the day before my son Liam was born. I was in the hospital, and Rocket Forms had just launched, and I was helping some new customers get set up at the time. And my son was born the next day, and completely changed my life, and it's been great since then. So going back to the main problem that we're trying to solve. So what is this main problem that we're looking to solve? It's I'm getting clicks to my site, but I want more of those clicks converting into leads. So, when thinking about how to get more of those people or clicks converting into leads, we need to think about the best way to do that, or like what's the thing on the website or landing page that's causing the most friction. And this sounds crazy and it sounds simple, but what we have found at Rocket Forms and what I have found over my 10 years of digital marketing is that it typically comes down to the forms. If you look at the form to the right, this is a typical form that you see a lot of people using. Um, Many people may not be using a form this bad, but this is just an example to highlight that forms are just ugly and the ordinary forms have a lot of friction. So if you look at the form to the right, you'll see that there's a few problems with this. There's user experience problems. It's just not a great user experience to have somebody go down a form like that. There's high friction. It's not customer centric. I'm not seeing social proof in this form. I'm not seeing trust symbols. And there's also technical problems like the way that the field validation is being handled and the way that the messaging is being handled. Every single field says, please fill the required field. This form, in my opinion, it will get results. People will click and submit the form, but the results will be really bad. This is why forms tend to get like a between a 1 to 3% conversion rate. So simply by making just a few changes to your forms, by optimizing your forms, you can really increase the conversion rates and get more of your traffic converting. And it makes a lot of sense to spend time on the form because that's where the conversation starts. It's a very first touch point with your sales team, your sales process. And it just doesn't make sense to be using a form that's not optimized for conversion rates. So, when thinking about how do we optimize our forms, how do we make our website conversions better, how do we increase conversions? I went back and I looked at what some of the big guns are doing to convert their clicks into leads. And I looked at some of the companies like Home Advisor. They're spending millions of dollars driving people to their website. Thumbtack doing a lot of spend to get people to their website and a lot on the content side. Lending Tree, all these types of companies. And what I found was they're all using multi-step forms to some degree. So in the very top on the right-hand side, you'll see an example of Home Advisor. It says boiler repair companies near you. And instead of showing somebody a big long form, they have this really nice, fun form, and you put it in your zip code, you hit find pros near me, and then it takes you to another step. And then you start going through from one step to the next until you hit a contact form, and they say, please put in your contact details, and we'll follow up with quotes. And this is the general format that all these companies are using. So Geico, one of the biggest insurance companies, is doing the same type of thing. We see to the right-hand side, Two Men in a Truck. They're using a multi-step form to qualify their traffic and to help give their sales team better data about their leads. So why are the big guns using multi-step forms? Well, there's a few reasons. The first reason, and the one that really stands out in my mind, is that these multi-step interactive forms create less friction in the experience. And if you can reduce friction, you'll get more leads. Friction's like that thing that just gets in people's way. It's that annoying thing about a website that just stops people from converting. The key to reducing form abandonment is to create an experience that's as frictionless as possible. So, a second reason why the big guns are using these forms is because they're more engaging. They start out with one question, and that question pulls the visitor into the interactive experience, just like a magnet. So, if you think about that Home Advisor example that I showed you, you may remember that they started out with a really simple question like, what's your zip code? Or I like to start out with a question like, what type of service are you looking for? So, think about a pest control company. What type of service are you looking for? Rodent control, insect control, mosquito control, things like that. So then a third reason why the big guns are using these multi-step forms is just because you get better lead quality. So the really great thing that's about these forms is when someone submits that first question, they go to the next question and they go, oh, okay, I'll respond to that. And they go to the next question and the next question. And by the time they get to that last question where you say, hey, what are your contact details? We'll contact you with a quote or something like that. They have already become committed to the whole process. And then what happens is they tend to become consistent with completing the form and following through on that original commitment. So these forms in general just provide better lead quality, which helps the sales team accelerate the sales process when they have the right information in hand. So there's also a final and fourth reason, and I think this is something that a lot of people just don't talk about. And in my mind, it's one of the most important reasons. And I think the big guns use these multi-step interactive forms because they're just people friendly. Listen to this stat. 66% of consumers say that a frustrating experience on a website hurts their opinion of the brand. Now imagine how that impacts conversions. When you're designing your website experience and your forms especially, you're designing them for the two people on the right. I named them Bob and Lisa. I just found these people on some stock photo site. But my point is you're creating your forms and your website experience for people, for Bob and Lisa, the husband and wife, who are sitting in their kitchen on a Sunday morning having coffee saying, "Hey, we need to redesign our kitchen. Let's find somebody to help with this. Let's go get a quote." Or, "Oh, our roof is leaking. We need a new roof. Let's find a roofing company to give us a quote." Or, "Let's find multiple roofing companies to give us a quote because these two people probably want the best price on their roof." So once I saw like how much success the big guns like Home Advisor were having with this technology, in 2019 I said, I'm going to build this technology myself. I couldn't find a simple tool that could do what I was looking to do in the way that I wanted to do it, simply put. So I decided to build it myself, but I did it with a few conversion boosting spins. So conversion boosting spin number one, instead of being embedded into a page, the form could pop up and open across any page. So if you look to the right, you'll see a rocket form. So this is a form that could pop up across any page on your site and really engage somebody with this nice conversational experience. Aweber found that by moving their sidebar to a pop-up, increased their conversion rates by 1,375%. So I know some people think pop-ups can be annoying, but they work and they're especially worth using if you're a service type business and you're looking to capture leads on your site. Boosting spin number two, 90% of consumers prefer personalization in marketing. So why don't marketers use it in their forms? That's a big question that I was thinking when I went to create this new tool. So I also made my forms look and feel more personal, kind of like a cross between a chatbot and a form. So if you look to the right, you'll see that this form, it actually uses the person's name. So on the previous step, it could have said something like, "Who are we speaking with today?" And maybe the person typed in their name, Mike. The next step says, "Thanks, Mike. Is this for your home or business?" So you can actually like pull the person's name into the next step and reference them to make your forms more conversational. This is something that very few form tools, none that I have found, can actually do. And then just to drive home the point about personalization, you'll see that you can drop your picture in there. That's not actually me. That's just some stock photo, and then their social proof and all of that great stuff. So again, listen to this stat one more time. 90% of consumers prefer personalization in their marketing. And I guarantee you, there's a pretty good chance that your competitor is not using personalization. So this is one way to actually stand out and be different. And at the end of the day, if you can be different in your marketing, it's really going to go a long way for you. Conversion boosting spin number three, and one of my favorites, I created a friendly little on-site message that can make your form more accessible from any page on your website. And what you see right there with that little guy's face and the "get a fast free quote today" message, that is the example of the on-site message. It's just this simple message that can persist in the bottom right or bottom left-hand corner of the screen, kind of like how the way a chatbot works, except when you open it up, it doesn't turn into a chatbot. Personally, I can't stand chatbots because natural language tends to be very like nuanced and hard to kind of nail down, and a chatbot's not really a bot. It's just a glorified if-then statement. And when you start to like get into some of the nuanced parts of conversation and natural language, chatbots tend to break. Like throw in a few slang words or regional dialect, and the chatbot kind of breaks apart. And then a thing too that I hate about chatbots is they kind of force your sales team to have to respond, and it just puts a lot of pressure on people to respond fast. So I thought, you know what if we could take a form and make it more personal like a chatbot, but also like kind of set it up where like you can respond on your own time? If you're a service business or doing marketing for a service business, then there's a pretty good chance that you don't have the time and resources to sit at a computer and respond to people who come through your chatbot. So instead, this form can engage somebody, could pop up across the site, and then it shoots the lead details to you, and you can respond back on your own time from your phone or whatever works best for you. And the other cool thing about this is it makes your forms more accessible and more engaging. And at the end of the day, the more people who see your forms, the more leads you get. And like we have found that it really comes down to just a matter of getting more people to engage with your form, and that's what the on-site message is great for. So not only that, but I've also built in dozens of conversion boosting features like social proof. Social proof is super big right now. There's all sorts of tools. Like one tool that comes to mind is useproof.com, where it's that little social proof widget that can pop up in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen to say X number of people have submitted your form or bought a product. Well, I said, why not just stick that right into the form? Because nobody does that today. And 92% of consumers are more likely to trust you if you use social proof. And this social proof is also real time too, which is super cool. So each time somebody submits your form, the count will increase. And then another thing that I did that is like super great with helping you boost conversions is the ability to personalize the button text. So let's say that you have a pest control form, and then it pops up and it says something like, what are you looking to get a quote for? And someone chooses termite inspection. You can carry that choice through all of the way to the final step and stick that in the button, so it's super personalized and it says something like get my termite inspection quote. Now, if they chose something like rodent control, it would then say get my rodent control quote. And we have found that by personalizing the buttons in your forms, you can really skyrocket conversions, because again, it's just another way to kind of drive home that personalization and all of that great type of stuff. So I took all of those ideas, all those conversion boosting spins, I modeled what was working for the home advisors and Angie's Lists and Thumbtacks of the world, and then I packaged it into this tool, which is now RocketForms, stuck it on a site, a pest control site that I use to generate leads, and it worked. The tool took one of our landing page conversion rates from 21% to 47%. That's 123% conversion boost just by sticking this form on that could pop up and engage people in a friendly, conversational way. I didn't have to create a A/B testing matrix and come up with all sorts of new ideas. I didn't have to pay someone tons and tons of money to do A/B testing for me. I didn't have to play around with changing button colors and all these types of things. I just stuck an engaging conversational form on my landing page, and conversion skyrocketed 123%. So RocketForms is still somewhat new, but despite that, we have over 1,000 plus websites using RocketForms, and they're seeing an average conversion lift of 10 to 15% per page. It can be used across the entire funnel, from your home page to your landing pages to even your about pages that aren't necessarily designed to convert. Like think about about pages or blogs that are just bringing in search engine optimized traffic, things like that. So it's really great at just lifting your total website conversion rate. And more sites, more and more people are discovering us, and they're starting to use RocketForms more. So now we're going to shift gears a bit, and I just want to dive into a quick product demo to show you how easy it is to get started with RocketForms, how you can go from not having a RocketForm to getting it installed on your site. So let's jump into the product real quick. Okay, so for this demo, I'm going to show you how to boost leads for a pest control site. So we did have RocketForms installed, but I took it down, and now I'm going to reinstall it and show you how to go through the process from A to Z. So let's jump into the RocketForms dashboard. So here's your RocketForms dashboard. This is a demo account that I have set up. You'll see that I have 3 RocketForms in this account. Now, if we look to the left real quick, you'll see that there's 18 domains left on this account. When you sign up, you get 20 domains with your trial, and then there's 1,000 leads. So I've used 2 of 1,000 leads. So based on the number of leads that you need to generate each month, there's different plans that you can go with, ranging from 250 leads per month all the way up to like thousands and thousands of leads. That's something you can decide when you sign up for your trial. So then just looking up a little bit, there's just some like tabs here that you can dive in later into your own time. So like support, we have a robust support center with a ton of documentation, some information about how to add RocketForms to your site, a place where you can actually see all the leads that you generate through RocketForms, and then the forms, which is this page that you're looking at now. And then if you're using RocketForms for clients, you can white label and resell RocketForms, which we'll talk about in a moment. There's a whole section for that. So To the right, what you're looking at is a form, and each Rocket form is essentially a card that looks like this. So this right here, this is conversational forms, is a Rocket form that's installed somewhere. And then this dashboard form is a form that's also installed on the dashboard of Rocket Forms. So each of these is a card, and you'll see that there's some baseline metrics that you get. Now, when it comes to creating a Rocket form, again, we're going to create a Rocket form for this pest control company. The easiest way to get started is with a pre-built template. And that's what I always suggest starting out with. Instead of just doing it from scratch and yourself, it makes sense to start with a template that we have already built. So we have templates for a number of industries, ranging from auto dealers to legal to cleaning service, even chiropractors, fitness, insurance, agencies, mortgage, movers, pest control, so on and so forth. So we're going to go with a pest control form, since that's the type of form we're looking to create here. And there's a number of different styles within the pest control form template section. And the one that I want to go with is this pest control conversational. So before I choose this, I can preview it. And then this will just open up a nice little preview on the screen. And let's see what this looks like. So here's the on-site message that I was referring to in the presentation. And then here's the form. You can kind of go through this, submit some information. Look, it says, thanks, Tom. So we're using the personalization. I'm liking this form, so let's use this one. So I'll simply hit choose. And now the form is loaded into my account. And what's really cool here is all of the steps and questions and graphics are preloaded into the form. And I don't have to spend a ton of time customizing it. Now I can go into design and do a lot of customization myself, but it's a really good starting point, and this alone can save you a ton of time. So when thinking about getting the form set up on a site, my suggestion is just get the form loaded, pick a template, get it loaded into your account, and then install it on your site, and then go back and start to do the personalization. But just looking across real quick from left to right, so there's a settings section, and this is where you can control things like whether or not the form is going to pop up or be embedded into the page. It can actually be both a pop-up and embedded form, which is pretty cool. And then if you're going with the pop-up, which I tend to go with, you have a bunch of settings like pop-up delay and all of that type of stuff. There's the on-site message, and you can actually set the on-site message so it doesn't show at all, and you can control different parts of the on-site message. And then going across the design, I mean, you have full control over the design of your form. You can control the size of the pop-up if you're using a pop-up, all of the font colors and button colors and that great stuff. Then there's steps. And what's really cool about steps is we have this nice little visual flow section that shows you how the form kind of flows from start to finish. So you'll see that this form starts with services. It basically says, what type of service are you looking for? It's, again, a way of engaging people before they even start the process of completing the form, or when they hit your website. Then it flows into name, qualifying them if they're a home or a business, getting the zip code and all that great type of stuff. And then you can just click into each step and kind of make a change in here. And we have more robust, longer videos about how to actually come in here and change steps and all that type of stuff. So we'll dive into that in a different video. And then going across here to the right, we have lead delivery, and you can have leads sent to your email address to multiple people. You can have them sent to your phone as a text message, which I always suggest doing because it can help you follow up faster, especially if you're not sitting at a computer. And then we integrate with a ton of different services like MailChimp, ConvertKit, HubSpot, Google Sheets, Trusted Form, and my favorite is Zapier because that opens up Rocket Forms to a ton of different platforms that it can connect into. So the final thing to point out is, again, you can preview your form just by hitting the preview button. So let's say that we want to get this form just loaded up on this pest control site so we can start driving in some leads. The first thing to do is, now that we have this form here, I just want to put in my email address and then hit save. So this way I can actually receive the leads when somebody completes the form. I can go back in later and connect in my service. Like, let's say I'm using something like MailChimp. I can go back in later and do that. But for now, I'm just going to get the form loaded up and set up to the point where I can start receiving the lead notification. So my email address is in here. I'll skip the SMS and do that later. And then the final thing really to do is just to add it to the site. So we're going to just stick this form across the entire site. So there's not a ton of pages that are set up within this site. but just let's just imagine that like there's a blog and all that type of stuff. We want this form to pop up across the blog and so on and so forth. So we're just going to take the domain, and let me close this screen. I'll close this one as well. And then I'll stick it in as a target page like this and hit save. So now it's pretty close to being set up so it can load on the screen. The final thing to do is just to scroll down. There's quite a few different ways you can install the Rocket Forms onto the page, but I'm just going to come down and go to install instructions, Rocket Forms Pixel, and copy the code. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is take this code and go back to the Rocket Forms site. Go back to the pest control site and paste this code into the head section of the site. Now, this pest control site is built in WordPress, and RocketForms works great in WordPress. I use it myself here. It also works for landing page platforms like Unbounce, Lead Pages, Instapage, ClickFunnels, and then different website builders like I'm just trying to think of a few like Wix, Squarespace, all those different platforms. I can't think of a platform where RocketForms does not work. I've yet to see one myself. So you shouldn't have problems installing RocketForms. It plays nicely with your tech stack. So to install it on WordPress, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. If you're using Google Tag Manager, you can go that direction. In this case, I just have a simple plugin installed called Insert Headers and Footers. So this is installed on my WordPress instance. And then what I would basically do is come into scripts in header and just paste that Rocket Forms pixel script, come down here and hit save. And there's a number of different plugins like the Insert Headers and Footers plugin. This one is free, which is nice, and I highly suggest using it. This way you don't have to dive into like the code underneath of the WordPress dashboard. So we have the Rocket Forms pixel installed, and if we go to the pest control site, it should work now. We have installed, the target URL is set up, and there it is. So here is the Rocket Form, and if I open it up, you'll see that it opens, and it's also set to pop up if somebody were to go and leave the site. So there's different pop-up settings applied to this, and then it should also pop up from a button click, which is nice. So this form is pretty much set up, and let's just walk through it real quick. If we walk through it, I'll choose rodent control, and I'll just say this quote is for John. So again, this is a really cool feature. It says, thanks, John, is the service for your home or business. Notice how much more conversational that is than a typical form that kind of just takes you from one step to the next without really like being conversational. And this is something that really appeals to people that we were talking about in that presentation, like Bob and the Lisas of the world, who are sitting in their kitchen looking for that roofing quote or that pest control quote in this case. Let's say it's for a business. Now, I'm a big fan of pizza, so it's probably my favorite food. So I'm going to pretend that I have a pizza shop and maybe there's a giant rat. I walk in the morning and there's a giant rat sitting on my pizza kitchen shelf. So we're going to say, I have rats in my pizza. I can't type and do this at the same time. Kitchen, help. So then we'll hit next. So I'm going to go through and actually put in some contact details. So I'll put in my name, so John at getrocketforms.com, and then a phone number. So I put in the contact details, and now I'm going to hit submit, and then let's see what happens here. So I hit submit, and then you see this nice thank you message. And again, what's really cool here is we kind of carried through the name to the thank you step. And so before I show you the lead notification, one more thing to point out is I just want to show you the personalization component to it. So keep in mind, I just chose rodent control here. So if I go back through this and I say, my name's John, thanks, John. Is this for your home or business? It's for my business. What's your zip code? 19063. What's your problem? I have a rat in my pizza kitchen. I need help. I didn't spell kitchen right, but we'll just go on. Now, look at the submit button. It says get my rodent control quote. If I had chosen something like mosquito control or termite inspection, then the button would have been more personalized with get, like let's say I chose mosquito control, it would have said get my mosquito control quote. Again, just another way to increase conversion rates by personalizing your form. So then one more thing to show, and this is really cool. So let's say you want to kind of get more granular with your target. So if we go to the termite inspection page, you'll see that the same form is here and it's already set up. So what we can do is actually create a dedicated Rocket form that's more relevant to this page. So let's just come into the RocketForms dashboard and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about right here. I'm going to go to create a Rocket form. I'll go back to pest control. And for this example, now I would probably keep the Rocket forms consistent across the pages, but for this example, I'm just going to create it like a friendly chat style form. So we'll go with pest control chat style and I'll hit choose. And then I'm going to call this one termite inspection. I'll hit save. I'll update the lead delivery information. So john@getrocketforms.com. And then that's all I have to do. Oh, no, one more thing, add to site. So for this particular one, we're going to drop it on the termite inspection page. And I'll just do that and save. Now, if I come back to the termite inspection page and refresh it, we should see the chat style form pop up. So there it is. So this form is now just on the termite inspection form, and then we have one across all the different pages. So the goal here is to maximize relevance and boost conversion rates just for termite inspection. And we're going to take this one step further by taking this termite inspection response and putting it at the very top. So to do that, we'll go into steps, and then I'm going to go to the service type question right here. And upon clicking that, you'll see that all the service types just showed up. And here's termite inspection. So now I'm going to just put it up to the top, and you'll see right here it's up at the top. I'll hit save, pop back into the pest control site, refresh the page. Now, if I hit get a fast free quote, look at that, termite inspection is at the very top. And this is really great if you're getting a lot of mobile traffic, which I know a ton of service providers do. When someone comes to the page and you think about their thumb position, their thumb is going to be at the very top of the most relevant selection based on the page. So this is something that I suggest doing across all of your service pages. So if you're a carpet cleaner, then you might want to do that across like curtain cleaning, rug cleaning, and just have like different forms where the top question pops up and is most relevant to the page. And we can even kind of we can take this one step further by even customizing the on-site message. So it says something like get a fast free termite inspection quote. So if we come back into RocketForms and if we go to settings, we can say get a fast free, we'll just say get a free quote today. So it says get a free termite inspection quote today. And then if we refresh the page, you'll see now that the on-site message is now more relevant to the termite inspection page. And this alone will drive up click-through rates and engagement with your form, which will then increase your conversion rate. So get a free termite inspection quote today, you open it up, there's termite inspection. If you go through the process of going through the form, please describe termites. So again, the button says get my termite inspection quote. So super relevant, super personalized, and just a great way to really drive conversions across all of the pages within your funnel. And then just to show you one last time, the homepage is that general broader form right here. So this one's not focused in on one specific service type. So what I like to do is kind of set up one general form across the entire funnel and then get honed in and like real focused in on certain pages where I know I can drive conversions and maximize things across the site. So then let me quickly show you the lead notification. I'm going to pause this and then pull up the notification so you can see what this looks like. Okay, so here's the lead notification that came through, the one that I submitted on the pest control form. And as you can see, it contains all of the lead details. So all you have to do is respond back, is take the person's contact information and quickly respond back to them. So this information could be shot to your entire sales team. And then again, it can be pushed straight to their phones and into your service. Like if you're using HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, or GetResponse or something like that, you can push your contact details in there as well with each of these questions and steps included. So then if we go back to the RocketForms dashboard, I just want to quickly show you, where is it? So the pest control conversational form is right here. And then here's that lead that I submitted. I can open the details and see the lead information right here as well. I can delete it out. And then there's just some basic steps, and we're actually launching something really cool soon where you're going to be able to see the conversion rates at each step of the form. So you can do a lot there to maximize conversions. And then one more point to drive home is, let's say that I get the form set up, it's all customized to be the way that I want it to look, and I start getting some traffic and leads start to flow in. I can really maximize conversions by running an A/B test. So I can come into this form, hit A/B test, and then really test like all parts of the form. So we can come in here and test the headline, the type of form. So we can try testing this type of form versus a chat style form. We can pretty much like do a complete test and test all sorts of things, and then kind of optimize conversions that way through a ton of A/B testing within the form. And a lot of people use this to really boost conversions once they get the form set up and they're looking to maximize things and take things to the next level. So let's just jump back into our presentation and wrap things up. I have a couple cool things to talk about, and we'll finish up here. So RocketForms plays nicely with your entire tech stack, from websites like WordPress and Wix and Squarespace to landing pages like Unbounce, lead pages, ClickFunnels, and email services like HubSpot, ActiveCampaign. You won't have trouble at all pushing your leads into those services. And yes, there is a Zapier integration. So one thing I really want to point out too is this technology it may seem simple, but to build it and create it, it's not simple at all. If you wanted to do this yourself, you would have to spend a ton of time and money just getting all the technology in place. There's so much that goes into this. You have backend like Python and different databases, and more front end type stuff like HTML, CSS, React, and different webhooks and stuff to make this entire system work. That's not to mention you also need to get the user experience right. I've seen a number of people pop up and try to replicate what we've done or to try to do it themselves, and the user experience just is not right. The good news is that I already did all this hard work for you. I've spent and continue to spend thousands of dollars building and refining this technology. Not only that, but RocketForms has already been battle tested in the real world, having already generated over 100,000 plus leads to date. And we're learning a lot at an accelerated rate. I like to think that we've now, like now that RocketForms has been built, and now that we have so many people using it, we're hitting this velocity point where we're just learning so much more about conversions and different interesting ways to get people to submit forms, that the technology is just going to continue to evolve and get better and better. So RocketForms will work for your business. There's no question about it. And here's some different use cases for conversational forms. So one way you can use RocketForms is on your landing pages to get more leads from your paid traffic. Another way that you can use RocketForms is going back to that pest control example that I showed before. You can drop your RocketForms across your website, and this is great for service businesses. And then just going through that example of the pest control company where we use RocketForms across their entire funnel to boost leads from all the different channels like organic traffic, direct, social media, paid, etc. And then another use case is to get more demos, and this is great for B2B SaaS. So we installed RocketForms on this one software company's pricing page, and not only did they start getting more leads, they saw at least like a 300% increase in leads, but they started getting more upmarket opportunities handed off to their sales team. And not only that, but the leads were better, were more qualified and had better data. And their sales and marketing teams just found this to be super effective, and they started to deploy it across different landing pages in their PPC campaigns. And then you can also just take a Rocket form and embed it right into a page. So here is a top mortgage and lending company called Cardinal Financial, and they just have the Rocket form embedded on their homepage, and they use this. It's a very long form. It's like, I think like 15 steps or something, and they take people through and kind of qualify them based on their needs, their like home mortgage and lending needs and stuff like that. And then you can also use RocketForms for lead magnets. So something really cool that you can do, let's say that you're just looking to generate some top of funnel leads for like maybe a free guide or something. You can have your standard pop-up form that says enter your contact details and we'll send you the guide. But then with RocketForms or with the conversational form, you can take it one step further. Once they submit the information, you can follow up with a second question to pre-qualify them. So let's say that you're a marketing company and you're sending a guide to kind of generate more pipeline. you can have a second question that says, thanks, are you currently working with an agency? And then if they hit no, then you know, well, this might be a good opportunity to say, hey, do you need someone to do your marketing for you? And if they hit yes, then you can kind of follow up and say, are you happy with the people who you're working with that run your marketing? So you might be sitting here thinking to yourself, now, if they hit the first step and go through to the second step, but don't complete the second step, like let's say they bounce there, would I still get their contact details? Yes, you can. There's a feature called drop off mode, and you just hit that switch, and then that ensures that if for some reason they don't complete the whole form, you will still get the contact details pushed to you. Are you ready to boost conversions by up to 300% with RocketForms? If so, then now is the time to either start your trial or to check out some templates and see what could work for you and then start your trial. And then as a reminder, when you sign up for a trial of RocketForms today, you get access to every single feature we have. So that's SMS notifications, A/B testing so you can maximize conversion rates, integrations like Zapier, quick clone feature. So if you're creating a bunch of RocketForms, especially for clients, you can set up one that you like, hit clone, and then it just loads up on your screen and you never have to spend a lot of time recustomizing. Social proof, webhooks, and tons of features that we plan to add into the future. Not only that, but you'll get unlimited RocketForms, and then unlimited traffic for life. And then you just pay based on the number of leads and domains you need. That sounds pretty fair to me. And then free starter templates so you don't have to start from scratch. We're always loading in new starter templates, especially as we find what works and what does not work. And then a quick bonus for the marketers and web designers with clients, free access to white label if you want to resell RocketForms to clients or use it as like a bundle or value add into your service. And again, we'll someday charge like $300 to $500 per month for that. But for now, we won't. And if you get started today and use white labeling, you get grandfathered into the pricing you have now. It's included across all of our plans. And then, of course, free setup assistance if you need help. I personally love building these. So if you need help at all with like setup or you have a question for us, you can shoot us a message and we'll dive into your account and help you out as fast as possible. Thank you so much. The next step is to either start your trial or to go and browse some templates. You can click one of the buttons below to do that, or you can just go straight to getrocketforms.com and kind of find your path from there. So I'm looking forward to seeing you on the inside and have a great rest of your